Hi, this is Steve Bedder of Autodesk with an introduction to Autodesk PLM 360. So to access the new Autodesk PLM 360 tool, all we need to do is start our internet browser. That could be Firefox or Opera, or in my case Google Chrome, and then we log in using our username and password into the secure managed environment of PLM 360. Now, as we first log in, we get access to our dashboard, which gives us real-time analytics of the projects, items and reports that we actually have within PLM 360. I also have a list of outstanding work that you can see there, and this is all controlled via the workflow that we'll take a look at a little bit later. Now, if you're new to PLM 360, we've got a six-step tour that you can access right from the dashboard, and we can also access the Autodesk Wiki help, where again there's a whole host of information, documents, tips and tricks and video tutorials on how to use and configure the PLM 360 environment. Now, the default PLM 360 tenant comes with a number of workspaces, and these are the workspaces that you can see listed within the main menu. So we have a number of workspaces for quality, operations, sales and marketing, etc. But I've configured for myself a personnel workspace which helps me manage some of the people within inside of our organization. Now, we can see the active state of each of the people, and we can even drill in and get some more details about the individuals. We can get contact information, emergency contacts, the roles that they have. But more importantly, in my example here, as this individual is a product manager, I want to be able to see and access quickly and easily the products that this product manager manages. So we can see that there's a list here of three: the spring probe arm, the RC car suspension and the test clamp jig. Now, as I hover my cursor over each one of these items, I get a preview of the details, but I can click through and actually get details of the product itself. Now, in this case, we've got some product ID information, order codes, unit costs, etc. But I can also see that the state of this is actually available and in stock, and that's because we've assigned a workflow process to our products. We can see that we've got a four-step process, and we can quickly and easily perform workflow actions on each of our product records. Now, I also have a relationship to a manufacturing bill of materials for this particular spring probe arm assembly, where we actually start to get into more engineering detail, and we can see things like the item category, the item numbers. We can also see relationships with the PDM environment via the CAD drawing number, and we can also get a real-time preview using the read-only lightweight DWF format within our PLM 360 environment. Now, if we have a look in the bill of materials, I can see that the bill of materials here has a number of line items, included some nested sub-assemblies. So we can see here that we've got some nested items within inside of our bill of materials based on the sub-assembly, and we can see the life cycle state, we can see the quantities, etc., and we can configure this bill of materials to capture all of that data around the components. Now, here I've just drilled into one of the components that we've got, the front mounting plate, and again we can see that we've got the 2D DWF preview here. So again, as a user of PLM 360, I can interact with the drawing, zoom in, zoom out, pan around, etc., to get the detail of the drawing that I'm particularly interested in. Now, if we want, we can also link this to our AutoCAD WS environment. This is our cloud-based version of AutoCAD, so that if users of PLM 360 want to interact, whether that be on premise within the office, or whether that be out on site using a mobile device like an Apple iPad or maybe an Android based device, they can use AutoCAD WS as a snapshot in time to be able to interact, to maybe create redline markups or maybe take dimensions of this snapshot of the DWG file. Now, AutoCAD WS is completely cloud hosted, just like PLM 360, so all you need is your internet browser to be able to access and interact. Now you can see at the top there we've got tabs for things like where used, so we can see whereabouts this component is used within our products and items, but we can also see sourcing details, so we can actually see whereabouts we are getting this component supplied from and the costs involved with that. And we can manage each of the suppliers. So here we have EV Engineering Services. We can see that they have a green flag as they are an active vendor, and we can see down the left hand side we have a list of all our other vendors. We've even integrated this with Google Maps so that we can get an instant view of the location of EV Engineering Services. So we can manage all of those suppliers as part of our PLM 360 environment. Now we've had a look so far at consuming data, but what about actually creating new data? In this case we're going to create a new inspection record, and we're going to create an inspection record for that front mounting plate. So I'll just do a quick filter on my items, and then I will select the supplier that's supplying us the components, and we're going to do a mid-process inspection, but we're also going to ask PLM 360 to spawn a non-conformance record should this inspection fail. So with this new inspection record created, we can add the inspection criteria or the inspection activities to this record, and we can have any inspection activities that we see fit, and we can have as many as these activities in one record as we see fit. So in this case, the first activity is going to be a width check. I'm going to specify that it needs to be 135 millimeters, but when we evaluated this, when the components came in, it was 128 millimeters, so there we have a failed inspection line item, and we can see that we have a red flag against that width check. Now if we go to my workflow and see the map for the inspection items, you can see that I can go to one of two ways: closed failed or closed open. But PLM 360 is intelligent enough to know that we have a failed line item within our inspection, so the only way I can take this is to a failed closed state. Now with that inspection closed and failed, remember we asked PLM 360 to automatically create a non-conformance record, so that the person that needs to do the activity to rectify this issue, they will automatically see in their list of outstanding work a new conformance record based on the front mounting plate. So they proactively told that there is a failed inspection, so that they can set things like the severity and also what the disposition is, so what needs to be done to actually correct this issue. So rather than the individual having to wait for an email or for somebody to tell them, PLM 360 will proactively inform them of the failed inspection and that they now have to carry out some work as part of the non-conformance. Now if we look at the workflow for the non-conformance, so we can now submit this for review to the individuals that need to be involved with the review of the non-conformance action. And there we can see that it's been moved to the next stage. Now let's maybe have a look at creating service requests. It may be that as a manufacturer you have service engineers that are out in the field who need to go out and regularly service and maintain products that are installed on customer sites. So we'll select the customer and who has submitted this service request, when it was received, and also the way it was received. So again, we're storing all the relevant information about this particular service request. So in this case it's an annual service of the assembly. We can select the address of where the service needs to take place, and then we can select from our item list the product that needs to be serviced and who we want to do that service and when we would like them to do the service based on the customer's requests. Once I've saved this new service request, it's added into my list, and again there I can see the location, and we can workflow this to send it to the next state within the workflow to assign it to an engineer. Now, as a service engineer, I don't need to be at my desktop PC or in the office. I can use my mobile device. In this case, I'm using an Apple iPad, but we could quite easily use an Android-based device or any browser-based mobile, where I can log in as a service engineer, and within my outstanding work, I now have that service request, where I can see all of the details that my colleague in the office added to that service request, including the location. So there's no ambiguity of the location and where I need to be to actually go and service this assembly. So we have all of the details there, who the contact is, who created the service request, so if there's any questions I know straight away who I need to go to. But there I can also see the product that I'm actually going to be servicing, so I can select the product there just to get some identification and make sure I understand exactly. But if I'm new to this and maybe don't know how to service this assembly, then we have a link to the service documentation that was created using Autodesk Inventor Publisher. And by accessing this on the Apple iPad, we can actually see the assembly and disassembly instructions interactively using Inventor Publisher Mobile, which is a free app on both Apple and Android devices. So as a service engineer, I've used Autodesk PLM 360 to receive proactively that service request, and then use the data that's recorded within the PLM 360 environment to access the service instructions, so instantly I can see how to take this apart, how to put it back together again, without the need to go into the office or speak to colleagues. I've instantly got access to that data on my mobile device. We can see there that we've got instructions for things like downcycle and recycle, which components need to be or how their end of life should be taken care of. And then once I've actually finished with the service of this particular assembly, again on my mobile device, I can access PLM 360 and go back to that service record that was created and is still listed in my outstanding work. And now that I've actually finished the service, I can use the workflow tools within inside of PLM 360 just to record the actions that I've carried out. So in this case, it was a successful service. There's no outstanding actions required, so I can record that detail within the service request item, and then just save that so that gets stored along with that item. And then we can use the workflow to then close this off as a finished and complete service. So that was a quick introduction into Autodesk PLM 360. If you would like more information, feel free to visit AutodeskPLM360.com. Thank you.